Hey friends, welcome back. Got another album review for you. In the future, these will probably have a name, but for now, I'm just gonna call them, reviews because that's what they are. I've got here a reissue. I almost said a remake. Now this is a reissue of Dua Lipa's Future Nostalgia. This is a an updated version, you could say, or a deluxe edition called Future Nostalgia: The Moonlight Edition, or Moonlight Edition, as I like to call it. I love this one. I'm gonna be frank with you. You can be Mary or whatever. I feel like this is a better release than the original. I feel like there's more good beats. There's actually some more. There's actually a lot of guest artists on here, like a lot of collaborations. That alone, well, you know, that got me to get it. So I'm a huge fan of collaborations with artists. That's a big factor in why I purchase some of the albums I do, such as Calvin Harris's two Funk Wave Bounces volumes. I think those are perfect for showcasing different artists' variety in music, and that's the big reason why I got those. Same with this one. But before we take a look at the music, I'm actually not going to analyze the lyrics very much at all in this release, just because I just want to highlight the different sounds and the different guest artists that are on here. But yeah, let's take a look at the presentation. I got Future Nostalgia, the original, in the back. Just for comparison, it is a little bit different. There's definitely less color in this release than the original, which I find interesting. Here's the album. It is actually unlike that one. This is a jewel case, and you can tell because it's reflective, and you can probably see my production in the background. But this is a jewel case. Essentially, this is a standard CD case. Like pretty much all CDs have this. At least most that you can find. Some of them are different, but this is a standard case. I like the cover for sure. Let's talk about that. It's got Dua in a. Let me see if I can get this. Actually, I can just. I'll take this insert out. What I like to do with certain inserts is I like to switch them around. This is one case where it has a picture on the front and the back, so you can switch it off. But here's the insert like picture. It's got the Dua Lipa logo and the chrome silver. It's also got the Future Nostalgia branding on the bottom with the Moonlight edition. This is a deluxe edition, so if you want more, this is that. It gives you more. And I like Dua. She has a different outfit on, and she's almost like fainting in the light of the moon. And it's got the moon in the background. Pretty cool looking photo. I do like it. And I actually prefer this back cover with her like kind of crouched looking at us on the moon. I just think it's a nicer photo. It's a little bit closer. You can see some more details of her outfit. It's got a nice dark blue, finish with the kind of disco-esque boots. Pretty awesome. Um, Unfortunately, my big complaint with this insert is it's pretty similar to the original in that there's no pictures, like there's nothing. It's just black paper with the credits of the artists and the like instruments and the songwriters and whatever. It's not exciting. Like it's kind of the same problem I have with the Future Nostalgia, the insert, the actual booklet that you get, because most booklets that I have for CDs and some that mostly you'll see are pretty good. Like they have some pictures or some pretty interesting things that they say in there and some lyrics. This one doesn't have any of that. It's just black paper, with some white text. It's fine. It's just pretty underwhelming compared to what I was expecting for this release. Like I was pretty excited when I bought it and I opened it up, and I was kind of the juice kind of left the blender. It kind of it soured me a little bit, but you know what? It's nice. I keep this as my cover for this, so I like to swap it out or switch it so it's like this. I don't know. I just feel like that's nicer. But yeah. As for the disc, it's very nice. You can see the moon, theming from Future Nostalgia is back on this. And you can see a lot of the track listing. There's 19 songs on this compared to the 11 on the standard edition. Unfortunately, nothing on the back of that. So there you go. And here's the back. There's the track listing. Pretty nice. I'm gonna talk about these tracks. I'm gonna actually take the insert out for this so you can look at that. There you go. So I'm gonna talk about the additional tracks. There's actually quite a bit of them. Um, I think my favorite is probably tied between Fever, which is Angèle, and she's actually French, and most of the song is sung in French. Some of it's with Lipa's vocals, but essentially this is talking about like a love and that Dua has between a person. It could be a woman or a man or whatever. And she's kind of, has a fever of love, a feverish love coming over her, and she needs help. And it's a really nice song. I really love the beat of this. It's very different. It's very like almost tropical. It has this very simple production, but it works really well. And I love the video. And I love the point where Angèle comes in, where she sings in French. It's gorgeous. I don't know what she's saying, but it's great. And yeah, I think it's a lovely song. Definitely my favorite on here. And then my second favorite is "We're Good," which is another tropical. It's almost like tropical trap influenced trap pop, tropical pop. And essentially it's about her, moving on from a former love, and she's, saying she doesn't want to hold a grudge, and we're good. And she mentions like sleeping and cocaine, and that those are bad things, and those are things she's used to cope. And it's really nice. I really like this song. It's one of my favorites. It's actually grown on me quite a bit, and it's one that I put on a lot just because I love the beat. I'm a big fan of the beat and the way it like syncs with her vocals, and it's really nice to listen to. It has a very nice sound to it. It's a very different sound for her. She doesn't really usually do this type of pop, but I appreciate her going in a different direction, and I think it's great. I'm a big fan of it. I also really like the video where it's almost like Titanic themed or inspired, where she's underwater and there's this lobster, and it's about this story about the lobster escaping the ship. And she's she's a guest at the on the ship, and essentially she survives. But it's kind of an interesting video. I'd recommend it. Yeah, and also the Fever video I really like as well, where they're in France and they're just talking and dancing in the street. It's really dope. I'm a big fan of most of these videos that have come out. It's really nice. The next one is Prisoner with Miley Cyrus. Big fan of this one. This one is, I think it's really Miley's song from, I think, Bangers, that album that she did. And Dua Lipa is a feature on it. But I'm glad that they included it on here because it's a really nice sound. It's almost like a pop rock sound. It's got a rock influence, and it's really nice. Miley carries this song. She's essentially comparing her love to being like she's almost like a prisoner of a love between her and someone. And Dua is also on this, and they have this like great chemistry together, like song chemistry, like voice chemistry. That's what I could describe it. It's beautifully harmonized between the two of them. And Miley has a very soulful voice, whereas Dua has a very smoky voice. So they kind of exit each other out. I think it's really dope. It's and the video is really kind of insane with this. They're like on a tour, and they're kind of like partying hard, and just like you know flipping everyone off and just not caring and just living their lives. I think it's a great video and also a fantastic song. Definitely one of the highlights on this. It took me a bit to get used to it, but I think it's definitely a amazing collaboration. And it's not the last one. There's more. The next one I will say is one of my least favorites. The only reason why is because it doesn't have Normani. This is If It Ain't Me. I will be honest, I love this song, but I actually prefer the Normani version. It's not on here. It's just Dua, which is fine. But I honestly, I don't know. It's a great song. It's very synth heavy, very digitized, very computerized, very electronic production, which I love. I love that. And it's a really bouncy song with bouncy bass beats. I'm just not. I just would prefer if Normani would have been on here. I just think her voice goes really well with Lipa's. I just would have preferred if she was on here, but it's a really nice song. I really like it. I just would rather have the featured version, so that's kind of a miss. Good song, and I like it. Number 16, That Kind of Woman. This is definitely my least favorite. Like of all of these, like I don't know. I even would prefer Boys Will Be Boys over this. Like that kind of woman. And I'm gonna let's see. Does that one have a feature? No. Okay, I'm just checking. So this one, it's pretty weak. I'm not a fan of the lyrics. To be honest, they're pretty forgettable. This song is forgettable. It's one of the first Lipa tracks where I'm not feeling it. I just it's a little slow. I don't know. The production's pretty weak. The lyrics are pretty bad. I don't know. Even her singing is pretty mid with this track. It's like the only song I don't like. It's just not my style. I don't know. It's not very catchy. It's not very hooky. It's not very like flashy. I don't know. It doesn't work for me. That being said, I don't hate it. I will listen to it like every so often, but it's just not one that I'm in love with. But, we quickly move on into Not My Problem with JID. This is another one where she's kind of getting over a relationship and she's talking to the guy. She's like, you're not my problem. Um, go get what you want. It's not my problem. This one's awesome. I love this song with JID. I think he adds such an amazing feature to this, where he comes in kind of like halfway, and this is very electronic. It's very techno, electro. It's very mechanical. The production, and also there's a lot of vocoders and talk boxes and digital voices, which I love. I'm a big fan of that. And Dua sounds fantastic, but I actually think that JID carries this song. He brings it to life. I love this song. It is definitely one of my favorites, like top 5 for sure. It's really dope. I love the sound of it. I love the vibe. I like the lyrics, and I love the fact that it's a collaboration. That's my favorite part of Not My Problem. Really big fan of this one. Next up, Levitating. It's really just the same Levitating song, except it's with DaBaby. Honestly, I feel this is a much better version of the song because DaBaby kind of carries the. I feel like he carries this version. This is like a remix with him, and he's a feature. And there's like so many funny lyrics where he's like mentioning like ham and cheese and ketchup and go put your bread on it, and I think it's really nice. My favorite part of this remix is actually when he's like, "You see what you have been." I can't sing how he says it. He's like, "You see what you got me out here doing, doing. Can't nobody else stop the movement. Come on, left foot, right foot, levitating, pop star, do a leap with the baby." I love that. Like, I can't sing it obviously, but it's so like he has such a good flow. Like, I don't know if anyone has mentioned this in the like song review before, but the way he can like switch up his voice like up and down, and he's a rapper, so he has the advantage of being like a fast paced singer, which I think helps with Lipa's vocals being very strong. And then DaBaby is very forceful with his rapping, but it actually kind of works. It gives it a nice power and rhythm, and they have a great chemistry with each other. And also the video for this song is incredibly creative because it was sponsored by TikTok, and it's a gorgeous kind of dance party, like a space age dance party, like sci-fi themed, and it really reminds me of Ariana Grande's "Break Free," which is a great thing because I love her art as well, and also it reminds me. It's very reminiscent of her "Break Free" video, which is very similar to Levitating. I just think they have a very similar vibe, and I'm a big fan of both. And this song really is fantastic. The baby carries this song. I mean, the original Levitating wasn't bad. It was great, but I feel like he just adds so much flavor to this track. Big fan of him, or big fan of his contributions to this track, even if he is somewhat controversial. I appreciate that he put something new on this song. And lastly, honestly, probably the most underrated track is One Day. And this actually has a plethora of artists. This has, of course, Dua Lipa, but it has J Balvin and Bad Bunny, and Tiny is featured as well. So it's a plethora of artists. And this one, I can't really speak to the lyrics because this is mostly in Spanish, but essentially it's about um essentially a lover or a love that Dua is experiencing, and she's kind of reminiscing about, maybe one day things will be perfect, and one day we can try, and it's really nice. Um, honestly, I love the rhythm of this. A lot of this song is sung in Spanish because there's a lot of Spanish artists on it, and Dua carries it well with her verses in English. But I think the other artists actually carry this the Spanish stuff is what I really love about this. It's very different musically to a lot of the other songs that Dua does. It's kind of almost a sad song. It's very melancholy, very almost tragic in a way. But I feel like it's amazing, just the melodies and the way that these artists kind of, harmonize and flow into each other and, bounce off each other. It's honestly beautiful, and it's definitely the prettiest song on here. It has love the loveliest production, I feel like, and also the music is really really nice. It has this very reggae tone Spanish vibe, and I love it. It's so fresh, and it's nice that this is the closing track because it's a little bit of a different flavor, a little bit of a different feel for this album. I think it gives it a nice, you know, almost, you know, global type of feel, and it has a great production, great beats, great vibe, a great tone. I'm a big fan of the way that it was put together, for sure. And those are all the tracks. They're all pretty awesome, except for That Kind of Woman. That one's pretty, in my opinion, the first trash Dua Lipa song. I'm just not, I don't know, it doesn't do much for me. I'm not going to really talk about the other tracks because they're just the same that you've heard off of the original album. Like, my favorites from that, obviously, Future Nostalgia, super sassy, sexy, sleek, a very funny, self-aware track. I love the music for that one. I love the production. I love the different references and her using her British voice in some of the lines. Really nice, really great. I love the female alpha line in that one in particular. It's a great line and it's very empowering. Love Physical, that's another favorite. That's like a club banger. Just adore the whole thing with that. Like it's dance heavy, great, very retro. And it's inspired by the 80s, but it doesn't rip it off. I really like that one. That one's like top tier. Levitating, obviously. I don't need to say much about that. Pretty Please, that's one of my top fives. It's very underrated. I love how the production kind of keeps building up. All these the musical instruments keep stacking, stacking, and stacking until at the end it just explodes into a wall of sound. It is just glorious, and I love everything about it. And I love the lyrics. I love the message. I love the way she says "pretty please." It is just amazing. Love it. Love Again, obviously a banger. I'm gonna be honest. I think I prefer Break My Heart over Love Again, and but Love Again is fantastic. Great sampling, and same with Break My Heart. Great sampling, and it has the best beat. I think the most irresistible bass line and beat of this whole album. Break My Heart. I can't get enough. I've heard it like 30 times. A great like anthem for breakups, and also it's just a great like um song music wise. It has a great feel to it, and also Dua sounds fantastic as always. And yeah, a big fan. I think Hallucinate is my least favorite off of the standard. Like Hallucinate and That Kind of Woman are definitely my least favorites. Those are ones that I don't really need to hear as much again, but I could listen to them. I just don't choose to. And then Good in Bed is the raunchiest one. That's the funniest one, in my opinion. Cool is another underrated one. And Don't Start Now, obviously, iconic. And yeah, Boys Will Be Boys is definitely the one that you're going to hate it or you're going to love it. I'm on the camp that I like it a lot. I don't love it, but I do love it musically. I think lyrically, it's great as well. It's underrated. It's definitely the most overlooked of these. Good closer to the original track listing. I think One Day is definitely a better closer than Boys Will Be Boys, but that's just my opinion. I'm a big fan of this whole album. Honestly, this whole era for Lipa is one of my favorite pop girl eras, like, that I've seen. It is such a, like, throwback, nostalgic, fun time, but it's pretty original in my opinion. Like, in terms of pop aesthetic, I think Lipa pulled it off tremendously well. I think it's a much better era than her debut, and I do think it's better than Radical Optimism, although that one is a different vibe. It's more like chill, laid back. We'll get to that in its own video. But I'm a big fan of this album, this reissue. In fact, I would say it is the better version. Like, if you're gonna go for future nostalgia, or if you're gonna go for this Moonlight edition, if you want more songs, because future nostalgia is only 11 tracks, it's only 37 minutes. This one's more like 50 to 60. I don't know the exact note. It might be like 55, 50, something like that. Um but yeah, it's a much longer album, and you get a lot more variety with the music, and you get a lot more artists, jumping on this thing, which I think is a much better experience, in my opinion. Love this one. The original is phenomenal, but I think this one just has more to offer me in particular. I like the variety of music. I like the variety of artists. I like the sounds, and the fact that there's more certainly helps. And I do think the presentation is a little bit weaker compared to the original, but everything else is top notch. So if you're going to go for one of these, I'd go for this one. There's just more in it and more to offer, in my opinion. So I'm going to give Future Nostalgia the Moonlight edition. I'm going to give it a 10. I think, a couple of the songs are a little bit weaker, but that's not going to stop me from giving it a 10 because I love it wholeheartedly. I've listened to it at least 10 or so times, definitely more for sure. It could be a summer record or a spring record. It depends on what you're feeling. Big fan of this one though. I highly recommend it. If you can find it in stores, find it online, find it as a vinyl. If you can download it, do that as well. Highly recommend. You may like some of these, new songs, more, and you may like some of the original ones less. It just depends on what you're feeling. I couldn't recommend this more for sure. I like that it's Moonlight themed. It's very, retro. I do like that. And that's about it for my thoughts on the Moonlight edition. Let me know what you think. Do you like this album more than the original? Do you like, that one more? And do you like Club Future Nostalgia more? I think in the future I'll review that one for sure. But that's all I have to say. I think it's a fantastic album to recommend, to buy, to listen. It is a full package to me. So, yeah, that's all I have to say. That is it for this video. Thank you for watching. Be sure to vote for the next album, and I will be sure to take that into consideration. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. Once again, I apologize if I repeat these things. But yeah, I'm grateful. I definitely like the feedback. Thank you once again. I'll see you in the next episode. Take care and have a great day. Happy listening.